no matter what, if you're getting started with podcasting or you already have a show, don't ever neglect to think about who is your show for and why are you doing it.
Welcome everyone to UpTech Report. This is our Applied Tech series. UpTech Report is sponsored by TerraLeap. Learn how to leverage the power of video at terraleap.io. Today, my guest, I'm joined by Lindsay Tjepkema, who's based in Indianapolis, Indiana. She's the CEO of Casted. Welcome, Lindsay. Good to have you on.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So your product is an all-in-one B2B podcasting solution. So those out there, if you're a marketing leader at a mid-size or enterprise organization wanting to get more out of your podcasting efforts, this might be a platform you want to check out. Now, Lindsay, on your site, you state, prove your podcasting's impact on the bottom line. Tell me more. How did the problem appear for you? How did you discover the problem that you set out to solve?
Well, okay, so I spent 15 years as a marketing leader. Prior to starting Casted, I was in B2B marketing. I was on the agency side, I was on the company side, and most recently, before jumping in and starting Casted, I led marketing for a large enterprise global SaaS business. I led the brand and content team, and we had this great content engine going. But when we started a podcast, I was vastly underwhelmed with the software that just didn't exist to serve me or my team in leveraging the power of that channel in ways that really we needed to as a team. We didn't have a way to work together and collaborate the way that we needed to. We didn't have a way to measure the impact on the business beyond number of downloads. And so I set out to be the change I wished to see and created Casted that takes a show or a podcast and says, okay, get it out into the world. But what else are you going to do with it? How are you going to get more return on that effort? And how are you going to have metrics that really matter for a B2B marketer? Things like engagement, things like integration with your CRM to understand, like you said, the impact that it's making on the brand and the bottom line. You
saw the problem that there's nothing out there meeting your needs. And so you're like, I'm going to build a solution better, which is a great founder's journey. And speaking of that, definitely stick around for part 2 of our interview where we're going to hear more about Lindsay's founding journey. But to give a taste, I'm going to ask you a tough question. If you knew what you know now 2 years ago, what would you tell yourself that you're like, man, I wish I had known this when I had started?
Oh my goodness. Don't hesitate to jump. At all. I think, there was a hesitation of leaving my role as a marketing leader at a big business to start a company. And had I known then what I know now, and I think anytime anybody tells you anything about what it's going to be like, you don't know until you're in it. And it's been a wild, amazing rocket ship journey. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, I would have jumped without hesitating.
Love it. Okay, well, we'll get more to that when we jump into that part. But coming back to Casted, help me understand a bit more about the technology. How is it different from other options out there? Why should people care?
Sure. So kind of like I said, it was when I started a podcast as a marketing leader at a big business, I was just shocked that there weren't tools. There wasn't a platform. There wasn't a way for myself as a marketing leader and my team and the agency that we worked with to be able to manage the show, publish the show, schedule the show, use it as part of our comprehensive content marketing strategy, as part of our overall integrated sales and marketing strategy. You get used to tools that are able to serve you. There's so much out there in MarTech that you just kind of assume that there's going to be a way to work together and to collaborate and to measure what matters for the business. And there just wasn't. There's no shortage of tools and point solutions in and around podcasting. There's ways to host. There's ways to clip. There's ways to share. There's integrations for social media. There's pages. Like there's all kinds of things, none of which were made for me or my team. And so Casted really is the first and only B2B solution in and around podcasting that says, okay, not only is this made for you, B2B marketer, to manage and get as much out of your show as possible, but really even bigger than that, how can you take a conversation like the one that you and I are having right now and really make that the center of your content marketing strategy, saying like, yes, make it into a show, but how can you get even more return out of the effort that you're putting into this show right now, and take transcription and use that across your blog posts, and leverage a transcript for SEO value on your show pages on your website. Pull clips that can be used in social media and to equip your sales team to have more powerful, more meaningful conversations. And so with my background in marketing and my co-founder's background in enterprise SaaS, we just designed the whole thing with B2B marketers in mind, saying, we want to give them a chance to work together in this platform, to access that audio content in ways that are meaningful to them, to just wring out that content, amplify it across the other channels that they're already using, to integrate with the platforms that they're using, and again, to measure it in ways that they already are measuring some of their other content and expect to be able to measure their podcasts too.
Podcasts have always been a powerful tool, and it's kind of risen and fallen and risen again in the value and importance of it. But it's interesting fact that most of the solutions are more for one to millions, or consumer-based mindset, or an individual influencer kind of feel, less a B2B where your audience isn't going to be millions of people, maybe thousands or even hundreds, but each of those are so crucial. And how can you leverage that? And that sounds like where you're really honing in on that B2B solution, where
for sure
efficiency and like integration is where the emphasis. So tell me, give me a use case of one of your clients. If you can even say the name, that'd be great, of like how they are using it right now.
Sure. So Drift is a big, SaaS company that I think a lot of us are familiar with. They have, last I checked, at any given time, somewhere between 4, 5, 6 shows. And they're always looking for new ways to use that content. So they go out and they create episodes. They understand their audience well. They understand different segments of their audience well, and create great shows. And then they say, okay, how are we going to get a return on the effort that we're putting into these shows? So they have pages on their website that they say, okay, we're going to create this show. We use Casted to host and syndicate it out to the Apples and Spotifys of the world so that people can find it if that's where they choose to listen. But how are we also going to send people to our own website and say, okay, if you have a chance to share a link to the podcast or share a link to the episode, send them to your own real estate, get them coming to your own webpage and access that content there. When they're there, there's key takeaways that are created and casted. So there's kind of like an outline of the episode. So yes, maybe you come in and you click on the link that Drift shares and you go and you listen to the entire episode, or maybe you go in and you just listen to a key takeaway or a quick clip of the episode that you can easily see kind of that outline view. And maybe you get so interested, you get hooked and you listen to the whole episode. Then down below it, there's related resources. So because they're taking that content, that audio content, and bringing it out and using it in so many other ways, they're able to link to blog posts or videos or upcoming events that are related to that interview, so that the audience member can dig in and get even more engaged and dig deeper into that content. So it's not even just about the show. It's about the entire hub of everything else around it and how they're able to amplify those expert voices across many other channels.
How's the business model? Is effectively they're paying for a yearly subscription, and it's more of a mindset of this is where I can just, instead of having lots of smaller solutions, just this one kind of thing. Is that how you guys focus?
Yeah, because if you think about a marketing team and how they work, especially at mid-market or enterprise, like there's usually a lot of people involved. Even if there's one person that's solely responsible for the show along with the rest of their job, there's typically, there's a VP of marketing who wants to understand how it's performing, or a CMO. There's the content manager who maybe as part of their job is doing the podcast. There's social media who needs to get and pull clips and promote the show. There's sales enablement who wants to know what in the world it's going to do for the sales team and how the sales team should care about it. There's email marketing and newsletters who need to access it to say, hey, what are we doing and how do we want to talk to our customers or our mailing list about it? And then there's, operations, marketing ops who needs to see how it's performing. And without a centralized place, it's nearly impossible to access all of that content and all of that information collectively as a team. On top of that, if you're lucky enough to have an agency that you're working with, a producer or any kind of audio engineer that's producing your show for you, whether it's internally or externally, how are you kind of communicating with that team of people on the production of the show and to be able to access that content. So this gives those marketing teams a place to collaborate, to work together, to get as much value as possible out of the show and to get a bigger return on that investment, not only of money, but of time and energy as well. If you could share one word of wisdom to a marketing leader who's in the podcasting world, having to leverage all this, what would you share? Goodness. No matter what, if you're getting started with podcasting or you already have a show, don't ever neglect to think about who is your show for and why are you doing it, right? It's really easy to say, we need a podcast. We need to jump right in. It's something we need to do. It's the cool thing, or we already have a podcast. We need to be, how is it performing? We need to get more out of it. Before you jump to that anxiety-ridden thought process, remember who it's for. Who is your audience? Why are you doing it? What do you hope to get out of it? How are you going to serve those people? And what do you hope that they do? What is the intended behavior that you hope to get out of your show? That's something that I think is so foundational to any content, but it's really easy to forget. For those that want to learn more, definitely go to casted.us, correct? Yes. Casted.us, and you can be able to schedule a demo. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for sharing about the platform. Now, stick around, though, for part 2 of our discussion to hear more about her journey of being able to build this really cool platform. Again, everyone, UpTech is sponsored by TerraLeap. Learn how to leverage the power of video at TerraLeap.io, and go to UpTechReport.com to be able to get more great interviews. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Have you seen a company using AI, machine learning, or other technology to transform the way we live, work, and do business? Go to UpTechReport.com and let us know.